Right now, millions of people are doing exactly what they were taught, and it's keeping them poor. Warren Buffett has warned for decades, if you follow the crowd, you'll never escape the cycle. These 5 common mistakes may feel normal, but they are silently stealing your wealth. Money does not begin as currency. It begins as a way of thinking. Long before the first dollar is earned, invested, or lost, a decision is already made in the mind about what money is meant to do. Most people treat money as something to spend, something to chase, or something to survive with. Very few treat it as something to command. That difference decides everything that comes next. Wealth is not delayed luck, it is delayed behavior. The first dollar does not test how much you have, it tests how you think when you have almost nothing. The earliest financial mistake is believing that small amounts do not matter. When money is scarce, attention should be sharp, but instead it becomes careless. People say, it's only a little, and that sentence becomes a habit. That habit grows faster than income ever will. The size of money never matters as much as the rules you apply to it. Someone who disrespects $1 will never suddenly respect 1 million. The mind that leaks small amounts will collapse under large ones. Ownership begins when spending stops being emotional and starts being intentional. Every purchase is a vote. It votes for comfort now or control later. Most people vote without thinking because they were never taught to pause. The pause is where power lives. Before money leaves your hand, it should answer a question: will this buy relief or will this buy leverage? Relief feels good for minutes. Leverage works for years. The wealthy are not cold, they are selective. They delay feelings to protect outcomes. The first dollar should never feel free. It should feel accountable. When money feels free, it disappears. When money feels accountable, it multiplies. This is why income increases do not create wealth by default. Without discipline, more money only accelerates bad behavior. People do not rise to the level of their income, they fall to the level of their habits. A poor habit, funded by a bigger paycheck, becomes a faster failure. Thinking like an owner means separating identity from consumption. What you buy is not who you are. That lie keeps people trapped. They try to signal success before building it, and the cost of signaling quietly steals the future. Ownership asks a harder question: if this money could speak, would it say I was used wisely? That question feels uncomfortable because it forces responsibility. Responsibility is heavy at first, but it is lighter than regret. The first dollar should be trained, not enjoyed. Training money means assigning it a role. Some money is sent to learn, some is sent to wait, some is sent to work. Very little should be sent to impress. When money is trained early, it learns obedience. When it is indulged early, it learns disobedience. Money does what it is taught to do. Teach it to serve you, not your impulses. Time is the silent partner in every financial decision. Most people sell their future cheaply because they cannot see it. They trade years for moments. They exchange tomorrow's freedom for today's convenience. The first dollar is the first chance to reverse that trade. When you delay gratification once, you prove to yourself that you are in control. That proof is more valuable than the money itself. Confidence built on discipline lasts longer than confidence built on income. Thinking long term is not about optimism. It is about realism. The future always arrives. The question is whether it arrives prepared or unprepared. Small decisions repeated daily either build a cushion or dig a hole. The problem is that holes feel comfortable at first. Cushions feel boring. Boring is underrated. Boring allows growth to happen quietly while others seek excitement and burn energy. Ownership also means understanding that money is a tool, not a scorecard. Comparing yourself to others is financial poison. Someone will always appear richer, faster, louder. That noise distracts from progress. Progress is private. It happens when no one is watching. The first dollar should never be used to compete. It should be used to build. Competition creates pressure. Building creates options. There is a moment when money stops being about survival and starts being about strategy. That moment does not come from earning more. It comes from thinking better. Strategy requires patience. Patience requires clarity. Clarity comes from knowing what you want money to do for your life, not what you want it to buy today. Without that clarity, every decision feels random. and randomness destroys consistency. Learning to say no is more powerful than learning to earn. Every no protects a future yes. People who cannot say no to small temptations will never say yes to large opportunities because they will not be ready when they arrive. Readiness is built quietly. It is built when no one applauds. It is built when discipline feels lonely. The first dollar teaches a lesson that never changes. Money rewards respect. Respect shows up as tracking, planning, waiting, and learning. When you respect money, it respects time. When you disrespect money, time punishes you. This is why wealth often looks slow at the beginning. Roots grow before trees rise. Those who quit early never see what was forming underground. Financial freedom is not an event. It is a direction chosen early and followed consistently. The first dollar points that direction. It reveals whether you see money as a master or a servant. Masters create anxiety. Servants create options. The path is not dramatic, but it is deliberate. Control first, comfort later. That order never changes. Most people believe they are buying pieces of opportunity, when in reality they are renting emotions. A price moves, a screen flashes green or red, and decisions are made without understanding what is actually owned. Ownership is not a ticker symbol, a chart pattern, or a rumor. Ownership is a living system of people, processes, incentives, and decisions working every day, whether you're watching or not. When that truth is ignored, money stops being invested and starts being exposed. A real investment begins with a simple shift in perspective. Instead of asking how much something can rise, the better question is, what would happen if it were the only thing you owned? Would you be comfortable if the market closed for 5 years? Would the operation still function, still earn, still adapt? If the answer is unclear, then the decision is built on hope, not understanding. Hope is fragile. Understanding is durable. Prices are opinions. Businesses are realities. Opinions change hourly. Realities change slowly. When attention is fixed on price, thinking becomes short. When attention is fixed on the engine underneath, thinking becomes long. Revenue, costs, culture, and customer trust do not jump around every minute, but they quietly determine outcomes. Those who study the engine are calm during noise. Those who study the noise are nervous during silence. Speculation thrives on stories. Ownership thrives on facts. Stories are designed to excite. Facts are designed to inform. Excitement feels productive, but rarely is. It burns energy without building conviction. Conviction is built when numbers make sense, when incentives align, and when the business can survive mistakes. A fragile operation requires perfection to succeed. A strong one survives imperfection. The difference matters more than growth rates. Buying a business in your mind forces discipline. It asks uncomfortable questions. How does this entity actually make money? Who pays and why do they return? What happens if competitors copy it? What happens if costs rise or demand falls? These questions slow people down, and slowing down feels dangerous in a fast-moving world. But speed is the enemy of accuracy. Slowness, when intentional, is precision. The market rewards clarity, not cleverness. Trying to outsmart others leads to complexity. Complexity creates blind spots. Simple businesses with clear value propositions are easier to understand, easier to monitor, and easier to trust. If the business model requires constant explanation, it likely requires constant defense. Defense consumes resources. Simplicity compounds. A common mistake is confusing popularity with strength. A business discussed everywhere feels safe because it feels familiar. Familiarity, however, is not quality. Many weak structures stand tall for years before collapsing. The signs are always there, but they are ignored because the crowd provides comfort. Comfort numbs judgment. Independent thinking restores it. Time reveals truth. Businesses show their character across cycles. Easy conditions hide flaws. Difficult conditions expose them. Those who think like owners study how an operation behaves when pressure arrives. Does it protect margins or sacrifice them? Does it retain customers or lose them? Does management communicate honestly or hide behind language? Behavior under stress tells the real story. Short-term gains can be achieved by guessing direction. Long-term results require understanding durability. Durability comes from advent. Ages that are hard to copy. Trust, brand, distribution, habit, and cost structure create friction for competitors. Without friction, profits attract imitation and disappear. With friction, profits persist. Persistence is the foundation of compounding. Thinking like an owner also means accepting boredom. There is nothing exciting about consistency. It looks repetitive, it looks obvious, but repetition builds strength. Businesses that do the same right things over and over create reliability. Reliability attracts customers, partners, and capital. Drama attracts attention but repels stability. When people buy symbols instead of systems, they react instead of reason. Every dip feels like danger. Every rise feels like genius. Emotions replace analysis. Analysis, once abandoned, is difficult to recover. The goal is not to predict movement, but to trust structure. Structure reduces the need for constant decisions. Fewer decisions reduce errors. Understanding a business deeply changes behavior. It turns volatility into information rather than threat. A falling price becomes a question, not a panic. A rising price becomes a reminder, not a celebration. Detachment is not indifference, it is clarity. Clarity allows patience. Patience allows outcomes to unfold without interference. The best decisions often look unimpressive at the beginning. They lack urgency, headlines, and excitement. They feel almost too simple. That simplicity is their strength. When something is understood, it does not need constant attention. It can be left alone to work. Working quietly is how value accumulates. Ownership is a commitment to reality. It rejects shortcuts. It accepts limits. It respects uncertainty. It focuses on what can be known and avoids pretending to know what cannot. This mindset filters opportunities naturally. Many options disappear without effort because they fail basic understanding. What remains is smaller but stronger. In the end, the shift from buying symbols to owning systems changes everything. It replaces reaction with reasoning, noise with knowledge, and anxiety with patience. The result is not constant action, but consistent direction. And consistent direction, followed long enough, reshapes outcomes in ways speed never could. Most people look for growth because growth is loud. It announces itself with numbers that climb quickly and stories that feel exciting. But what truly creates lasting success is rarely loud. It is quiet, defensive, and often invisible. Strength that must constantly prove itself is not strength at all. Real power is the kind that does not need attention because it is already protected. This protection is not about size or speed. It is about position. An invisible advantage is built into the structure of how value is delivered. It lives in habits, trust, and systems that customers rely on without thinking. When people return, not because they are persuaded, but because it feels natural, something powerful is at work. Habits are hard to break. Trust is harder to replace. These forces do not show up clearly in short-term numbers, but they dominate long-term outcomes. Competition is not won by trying harder every day. That approach leads to exhaustion. Sustainable success comes from making competition unnecessary or ineffective. When rivals must spend more to achieve the same result, when they struggle to copy what looks simple on the surface, the advantage is already working. The strongest positions make effort expensive for everyone else. Many advantages cannot be measured precisely, which is why they are overlooked. A brand that customers instinctively choose, a process refined over decades, a culture that makes good decisions without supervision. These do not fit neatly into spreadsheets, yet they shape ever. Why result? What cannot be easily measured is often what matters most.